My name's Nicolas and I've been writing about restaurants for the last 26 years. Before that I used to own my own restaurant in the centre of London, and our son now has 2 restaurants in London, so I feel that if you were to cut me, you'd find that restaurants run through my veins rather than blood. This is the tart flambé with onions, goat cheese and tomato, and the reason I immediately like this dish is because it obviates the need for me to complain about a pet hate of mine. And the pet hate of mine is that so many restaurants and chefs construct menus around sharing dishes that can't be shared because they've either forgotten to cut them in the kitchen, or they can't do the mental arithmetic that if you have 3 portions of something, it's very difficult to share between a table of 2 or 4. But here, they very nicely and considerately cut the dish, the tart flambé, into 4 pieces. It's very good. This next dish has been explained to me as a thick slice of mountain tomato from the Lebanon, a piece of goat's cheese, and a really nice, interesting topping of peppers and hazelnuts and crouton. Looks very, very good. And it's good because, in particular, there's the right quantity of cheese and tomato, so neither one flavour doesn't overpower the other. It's very thinly marinated salmon. It looks good. It's got a nice layers of ingredients, and again, it's a really interesting dish because it will appeal to so many people who couldn't be bothered to carve the salmon at home and marinate it quite as professionally as the chef has done here. And what's particularly nice about it is it's got very, very good acidity, which is an ingredient in a dish I always look for. Particularly, funnily enough, acidity and freshness, particularly important, and I think somewhat overlooked by pastry chefs, because at the end of the meal, that's something you really want to liven up your palate before you leave the restaurant. There is a theory, people in the restaurant business writing about restaurants, when they go out to a restaurant, their priority is to order dishes that they can't cook as well at home. And I very much fall into that category. I have to stop myself from using too often, which is unctuous, and that describes this dish really very well because it's soft, very tender, rich and really satisfying. A really good looking cheesecake, 2 ingredients on the plate, very, very clean, lovely thin base, passion fruit on the top and to the side, and really simplicity and elegance, and you shouldn't really ask for any more than that from a dessert. She was Polish and never cooked with passion fruit, but I think she'd have been very, very proud of that cheesecake. It's really good. It seemed a great opportunity, as I hadn't been here for several years, and Dubai is a city that crops up in so many restaurant conversations these days, to come and visit and eat. 3 or 4 years ago I was approached by Phaidon, who publish a lot of great cookery books, and asked the question, was there a book inside me? And I responded immediately with the title of the book, which is The Art of the Restaurateur, and it's profiles of the 20 restaurateurs around the world whom I most admire. I think what people are really interested now in restaurants is not just so much what's on the plate, as the whole experience and why those particular restaurants that I mention or choose to mention are an inducement to visit a city. So, essential to crafting my finished article, after I've thought of a theme and been to the restaurants, are 2 ingredients, a moleskin for making notes and a pen, because when you get to a certain age, memories fade very, very quickly. Having said that, I think one of the most important things is to kind of judge for yourself how long it takes you to take in all the information, the eating the meal, perhaps talking to the chef, doing the interviews, all that kind of stuff. And when you feel most comfortable about sitting down and writing and turning those impressions into a finished article. Well, Izu, first of all, it's a great pleasure to meet you, and thank you very much for the food, all of which I thought was delicious. As a newcomer to Dubai, what are the particular challenges of being a top chef here?
Thank you very much for putting us in that category. I mean, there's many challenges in Dubai. We all have to be honest about it. It's still a desert, and there are big high-rises, and the culture is starting to grow. But the disadvantages of being here is because we do not have the accessibility of the produces as we have in Europe.
Right.
So when you come to Dubai, you have to realize that, and you have to basically understand that you have to make compromises, but also do not compromise in the end result. The product itself, when you understand it, you own it, and you find ways to complement it instead of basically covering it. So I mean, the shortbread that we cook it for 2 days, very slowly. We started off in our Jasper oven, which gives the smoky flavour. That's the initial step, because it's very fatty. You want to render down the fat, but add the flavour. So we start with that process.